what's going on, everybody? All right, so we have the front fenders, flares installed. We have the front inner fenders installed. Now it's time to do the rear ones. So just like the front, we're going to have to put on this welting. So I'll turn the camera around and show you how to do that. If you didn't see how to install the front fender flares, I'll try to link it to the end of this video, and I'll also link extreme terrain in the comment or in the description below, so that if you want to pick a set of these up, you can. But let me get the camera turned around, and I'll show you how to put the welting on. Okay, now just like the front, the first thing I'm going to do is take some alcohol and clean this really well, because you're going to use double-sided tape to install this plastic welting right here. So we're going to clean the fender flare all the way around, and I'm also going to clean the actual piece of welting that I will be sticking to this as well. Just want to make sure that there's no dust and debris. There was like some reddish looking dust on this, just like was on the front ones whenever I got them. So we're going to want to make sure we get all that cleaned off and make sure it's good and clean, so that the double-sided tape will stick to it. As hot as it is here today, this alcohol is essentially evaporating from the bottle, let alone evaporating on the fender flare whenever I stick it to it. But that's probably good enough. So now the piece of welting that I'm going to be using, again, there is a ridge right here. You can see that goes on the outside, so I'll be cleaning the same side as the ridge. This feels a little dusty too, so it's just a good idea to actually clean this piece of rubber as well. I do want to say that the front piece of rubber stuck really well to that double-sided tape. I was a little worried about it coming loose and stuff like that, but it really didn't. It stuck really well. All right, that should be good enough. And now we just need to apply the double-sided tape. Now, just like the front ones, there are some pieces that are curved that kind of go like on the edges right here. And there's a small piece that's curved that goes on the edge over here. As the front ones also, you'll have to cut this so it's not covering the screw holes. So we'll do that right now. It's actually getting a little dark here. It's getting a little bit hard to see this, where everything's at. I think we got a storm coming. We'll just take that right around the edge. Like that right there. And then just push it down good so it sticks good, and then this piece will go in between here, and we'll have to cut this piece off to fit as well. Right like that, right there. So you can see how I've got the holes uncovered. And I'm going to do this the rest of the way around, and when I get it done, we'll be right back. Okay, next you'll need to pull off all this red backing on this tape. I've already done that, so you didn't have to watch it, but you need to pull off all that backing. Now, we're ready to start installing this rubber seal. And the way you do that is, I'm actually going to hang just a little bit over. You just leave it hanging over on the edge, and just start going around. Sticking it down like so, and then we can trim it after we get it all put on. But you want to leave that lip right there hanging over. And when it's all done, it should look something like that, where you can see that lip hanging out over top, and that looks just about perfect. Now just make sure that it's stuck down on there good. Just go back over it, kind of push down. I don't think I'm going to get these put on today. It's starting to thunder, so it doesn't look like the weather's going to cooperate. So this one may get put off till tomorrow, and then we'll probably finish it up. But one more thing you need to do is actually you have to cut out the holes. Just like it's in the front one, you have to cut out where each hole is in this rubber and cut a section out like this right here. so that the screw can go through there, and you'll need to do that for every one of these. So we're gonna do that right now. Okay, now we got the welting on. I went ahead and did the welting on the other fender flare as well. I actually already have it installed just to make sure everything fit up good. There was just a little bit of a tight fitment in the back. I may put some pictures of that at the end of the video. Where some of this welting actually squeezed out more than the other kind of fit down in a channel, and the back was a little hard to get to. And I noticed that flare actually was bulged up just a little bit, and I don't know if that had anything to do with it. Now when it's on, you can't tell that little bulge. It didn't make that big a difference, but I do wonder if that's what made the fitment issue just a little rough in the back. But now I'm going to go show you how to remove the rear fender flare. It's very easy. These are actually easier to put on than the front. You need a lot less tools. But let me get you off the tripod and go show you how to take this thing apart. Okay, before I show you what you have to remove, I want to show you something else. I've been using the lid of these boxes to put my knees on this concrete so that I don't destroy my knees. It actually works really well, and that's just like a little pro tip to you guys. Is just use the lid of your box and it'll save your knees. Now, one thing up underneath here is you'll have to take out 6 of these little push pins. There's one here, there's 2, 3, 4, and then 5 and 6 is right here. So there's 6 of them underneath here. You can't miss them. They're pretty easy to find. You'll just use one of these trim remover tools to pull these out. And once you have those pulled out, now if you start pulling one out, let's see if I can get up underneath this one-handed. If you start pulling one of these out and it slides off like that one right there did, you can just take a pair of pliers. Now I did get it out, but you can just take a pair of pliers, grab the top up and pull it out, because you're never going to be able to put these back on your Jeep again. So no need to worry about saving that hardware or anything like that. Now you could sell these to somebody else, but even then you can see even pulling it out, it kind of destroys these. So they're going to have to get a new one of these anyway. But you have to drill holes, or not drill holes, but you have to make the holes that's already there bigger for your nut certs and these, so you're never putting these back on, because the clips that hold them wouldn't hold it anyway. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove these 6 push pins, and we'll be right back. Okay, I want to say the 2 top ones up here gave me trouble on both sides. I did have to have pliers to pull them out. Now I say trouble, it wasn't bad. I just had to get a hold and pull them out, but the little tool I had, the trim tool, wouldn't pull those out on either side. So those may be the 2 that you have to use a pair of pliers on or something. Now once you got them out, it should just be like the other side. Start pulling and sound like you're breaking your Jeep apart. Like that right there. And there you have it. Now I want to say that these right here you can get to, but the rest of them, the reason you got to put in nut certs is you can't get to the back side of them. So you'll have to use your trim tool remover to pop these out, and I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. Okay, now like I said, these 2 right here, this one actually popped out, but you can actually get to these from the back side, so you can actually just squeeze these and pop them out just like normal. Not that you need to save those clips, but you can do that if you want to. Now these, you'll have to get up underneath it and pop it out just like that right there. And I know it sounds like you're breaking your Jeep all to pieces, but it'll be okay, because this is all going to be covered. But you are breaking these little tabs, which isn't a big deal either, because you can't use them anymore anyway. And now they're all removed. Okay, so next, once you got your fender flare off, you have to install your riv nuts. Now I actually have all the holes marked. It's going to be the second one up from the bottom. Then you skip a big hole and do the next 2. Then you skip these 2 top holes, because you can get to them, they take a nut on the back side. Then you do the 3 in a row on the back, and you don't do the bottom one. I actually already have 1 riv nut in, because I just did a video on how to use a riv nut tool, because some people may not want to, or may not have bought these flares and didn't search for these flares. So I wanted to just do a video on how to use this, because it's really simple, and in my opinion, I think it was like $40 some for the kit. It's well worth it, other than the little rinky-dink riv nut tool that they send with the kit. Well worth it right here. This makes life a lot easier. So what you'll need now is a 25/64 drill bit, which I had to go buy because that's the only one I didn't have. You'll just need to make these holes that we pre-marked larger. got some insulation out of that. All right, now we have those largers. Let's make sure there ain't no burrs on them or anything like that that could possibly cause the rib nut to not seat well. And none of them are. I got a burr on the bottom one down here on every one of them. When I did the video about this, it got a burr on it, and I got it on each one of them actually. Okay, so next now we have to install all our rib nuts. So this is what a rib nut looks like. You take your tool and you open it wide open. Now these are interchangeable, so you have to find the one that fits it. Actually, the one that fits mine came on it, but you can push this little pin out here, remove this, put the new one in, put the pin in, tighten this down, and you're good to go. The kit came with quite a few of these actually, and this is just a Smitty built one. But you open it up like this, screw your rib nut all the way down, like so. I'm just going to do this one because it looks like it might be, actually this one may be a little bit easier for you guys to see. Insert it all the way into the hole till it's completely seated, and then just close the handles all the way like that right there. Then open your handles. This little screw here in the back actually unscrews it from the rib nut, and there's a rib nut completely inserted. So I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of these, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're ready to install our fender. Just like the front one, it takes actually 8 of these bolts. The front one I think takes more, but the back one takes 8. And these are a little easier because you don't have nuts on the back of every one of them. There's just 2 of them that have nuts on the back. But you do take a little lock washer and then a little regular washer. And to put this thing on to start with, what you'll need to do is take 2 of those and 2 nuts. And you just pick this thing up, line up those holes, start a nut on the back side. Now you do want to leave these loose. I did find that out on the other side. I kind of finger tightened these a little tight, a little snug, and I actually had to move this thing around a little bit, so I had to loosen it back up. So now you can let go of it. It's up there. This back looks like it might fit a little bit better than the other side. Let me go show you what the other side looks like. Okay, so here's what the other side looked like. You can see how the rubber went all the way up underneath it, all the way around until we got to right here, and it kind of bulged out. Now, that's not a huge deal. I mean, it's still tightened up and everything. It's just more of a little bit of an eyesore, and a lot of people may not even notice that, and maybe that's how it's supposed to be. I don't know. But to me, as much as it's stuck back in there, you would think this was supposed to have been recessed too. But let's go look at this side over here. So this side doesn't look quite as bad. It looks like it fits a little bit better. That side over there may just been a little bit sprung a little bit. It still went on, but I wish it would have fit just a little bit better really. Okay, so the next thing you got to do is you have these holes right here, and that's where you put your rib nuts. Now what you're going to do is you're just going to take a nut or a bolt with the lock washer and the washer and go in here and just start it. Now I'm not going to be able to do that one-handed because you kind of got to move the fender around. Because you can see it ain't perfectly lined up, so I may have to scoot that fender around a little bit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start all these bolts in the rib nuts and just get them kind of finger tight a little bit. I just went ahead and pre-made all my screws so I didn't have to fool with that later. Now what we need to do is actually just go through and tighten them down. And I want to tell you, if you don't have one of these little Jeep wrenches, go get one. They're awesome for stuff like this because they get right in where you need to be and saves you tons of time from using the little Allen wrench that they sent. Now I don't tighten it down as tight as I can get it with this. I snug it up pretty good because I think I can get more leverage on this ratchet than I can with that little Allen key. So I usually go back and try to snug it up with the Allen key so I don't over tighten it or anything like that. Seems like you're screwing these things forever before they start tightening down. Fine threads snugged up right there. And now I'm gonna go through and do the rest of them. Remember, these two right here will need a 10mm backup wrench, just like the front ones did. Now the last thing I'm gonna do is go through and just make sure these things are snug with the Allen key they sent. I didn't want to overdo it with the other one. Just snugging them up. And we'll go through and do every one of them that way, and we'll be right back to finish up the video. Okay, so here's the finished product. You can see all the bolts are in. Now I want to say this one kind of bulges out too. You can see right here where it comes through, and then it kind of bulges out. Come over here to the other side. This one kind of has that little dip in right here. Maybe I didn't pull the rubber out as far as I did the other side, but they both kind of look the same way. So I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. But overall, I really like the look of this. Now, if we go up here to the front, you can see what the finished product looks like all the way down the side. I think this is a much better look, and these things are crazy sturdy, way sturdier than the factory ones. Okay, so there it is, completely installed, all of them. That was the rear install. I'll try to remember to link the front ones installed at the end of this video, so if you want to see how to install the front ones also, I have a video up on that as well. That video will go up first, and like I said, the rear ones will go up second. But the rear ones were a whole lot easier to install than the front ones were, and that wasn't because I had to wire stuff. The front ones are just hard because you gotta have a backup wrench on every single bolt, which made that a little bit of a nuisance. But the rear ones went on a whole lot easier. Now I know I said these things are a lot stronger than the factory plastic ones, and they are. There are pros and cons to that. If you hit something on a trail with this and it's light enough or just medium weight, you're probably just gonna bounce it off, whereas you might bust the plastic one. If you hit something really hard with one of these, whereas it would have just busted the plastic one and ripped it off, and now you can also damage your fender. So there's pros and cons to going with steel fender flares versus plastic fender flares. I personally think the steel ones look better, and I'm willing to take the risk on damaging a fender. I don't know how likely that is. You probably have to hit something pretty hard, but that is a possibility, and I wanted to let you all know that. I appreciate y'all watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.